What is going on, everyone? It is Tyler McKinney back here again. And listen, I said I'd be back, and I'm back. And it feels good to finally be back doing videos. And listen, I had some hiccups in the last video, and of course, you know I'll probably have some hiccups in this video, but we're continuing on with videos. And so today we're going to talk about the CFL. Hey, if it's your first time here, glad to have you. If you're a return viewer, thanks for coming back, and thanks for watching more videos. And if you haven't yet, consider subscribing. All right, let's not waste any more time. Let's get into it because there's a lot that's been happening with the CFL, and really not a lot is really that good. But there may be light at the end of the tunnel, and right now we are really in the do or die time. I mean, we are in the final day before the CFL has decided that they are either going to either have a season or they're going to cut bait, and they are going to forego a 2020 season. So this is the 30th of July, and tomorrow is the deadline. Friday, July 31st, 2020. Tomorrow is the deadline for them to make a decision on whether or not they're going to have a season. So we're going to talk about that today. But first, I want to start off with news that kind of came out some weeks ago, and it's just all part of the stuff. And I know I said I didn't want to talk about this kind of stuff, but this is just one for me that I don't really get. I don't really understand. So the CFL, they've got 9 different teams. And, you know, they're broken down, but basically one of the teams is the Edmonton Football Team now is what they're called, but they were the Eskimos. And, you know, the whole thing for me with this, and I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it is, but, you know, I've always kind of thought, and my thought process with it was that it was just kind of an honor for a team or something to be named after you. You know, so when you looked at that, you know, you never thought of, you know, naming things, especially like a sports team. It's never been thought of as something to like make fun of or poke fun at, or to, you know, to put down, or, you know, to take away from things. It was always a prideful thing for me, you know, and it's always looked at as something as an honor for a team to be named after something, you know. It shows, you know, it shows kind of a heritage, homage, paying homage to things. And so looking at, you know, all of this with the Eskimo name and that with it, you know, for me, I looked at that as kind of, you know, paying homage, you know, to this group of indigenous people, to this group of people. Now, I don't know a whole lot about their history, you know, I really don't know a lot about them, but I could bet that they're a prideful people, and, you know, and they're Canadians. And so it just makes sense with it being Canadian football that you would honor those of your own, and to do that name, and, you know, with the people that have had a rich history there, and that I just don't really think of it as a derogatory thing, and it never was looked at and never has been. So for it to kind of do that, I don't know. I feel like it, you know, it's a tough place. Now, I will say it's a lot better for them than the Washington Redskins or the Washington Football Team, because the Washington Football Team, they pretty much went from their logo, their stuff, to pretty much just kept their colors and went really primary basic stuff. Whereas I will say with the Edmonton team, the thing about Edmonton is that their logo, their stuff really doesn't change. I mean, you know, they were using basic, you know, kind of styling. Everything with their stuff was generic anyways. So, you know, I think that they can pull it off a little bit better. I would like, so if I'm looking things down the road, I would like to see them do something with the, you know, with the logo, with the name, do something fun, you know, something exciting looking with it. The CFL, you know, their logos, their stuff never really jumped off the paper at me anyways. And maybe I'll do a video about ranking them. If you want to see a video on that and what my thoughts are and kind of like what I did with the XFL, you can let me know down in the comment section, and I'll definitely try to put something together with that. But I just wanted to touch on that just for a bit, because I just think it's a shame to lose the heritage, the connection to your people, like that. That one to me is a difficult one, for me. But you might be different. And again, it's not necessarily I want to get into politics with the stuff. I just, I saw it as a nod to and a looking to the heritage, looking to a group of people there, the Canadian people, and with Canadian football having such a tie to, the Canadian, way of life, Canadian society, and the way that they do things, and how it's integrated into that. I just kind of felt like it was more of a loss for the people than it really was, a victory, to do that. So, for me, that was kind of a toss up, but maybe they'll get a cool name and maybe a cool new logo, change the colors up a bit and do some things with that. I mean, I'd love to see them get away from like this weird, one night stand between the Jets, back of the 90s and the Green Bay Packers. I mean, that's kind of what it harkens to with me. And I don't like it at all. And maybe I'll cover that in another video, like I said, but we've got that. But let's move on to really the stuff that's really pressing here is, the CFL is not in a good spot, and they haven't been in a good spot for a very long time, and they've really just kind of skated by the skin of their teeth for a while. And now with everything that's going on, it's really come to really bite them. And so I think that puts them in a good place, though, because they've really been trying to the CFL, from what I can see, is really understand where they are. And I think they're having a trouble trying to figure out how to expand their brand and how to build their brand. And so that's kind of put them in this place to where they kind of understood where they need to go, and they've kind of tried to do some things, that like, they were trying to get a team in Halifax and things of that nature. But so where we are now, though, is that they're on the cusp of not only not having a 2020 season, but really, disaster. So they need the government to come in. They asked for $150 million, and $150 million. The government said, not going to happen. They said, okay, well, fine. We need only, $42.5 million to get a season and to get it rolling. And they said, no, not really. And then they're like, well, so then they started really working with the Players Association, which that whole thing hasn't really been great with them anyways. The players really are kind of unrealistic in what they're saying they want, and so are really the owners. So we're kind of at this crossroads with that. But anyway, so they kind of come back. They do this whole thing where they're going to do a hub city thing, and we'll get back to the whole hub city thing. But they go through, they do this, they go back to the government, and the government's like, we see your plan, but not happening. Like, okay, so this is all dead. I guess we're not having 2020 season. Nope, we didn't say no, but we're going to do this thing with the Bank of Canada, and we're going to try to get you a loan. But the key thing with the loan here is, and this is where we are, that all the providences in Canada need to pretty much co-sign this loan for you. So what happens is that it's not the government necessarily picking up the tab, it's the Bank of Canada picking up the tag, and then the people in those providences with the teams, it's going to be divided up amongst the teams, and whatever can't be paid back, then those providences are going to need to pay back through, obviously taxes and stuff that they take out on their, citizens and things. So it all goes back to this idea that Canadian football is really kind of this thing built around, the Canadian society. And it's really, really truly is a Canadian thing. And the way that this deal has worked out really shows that. You'd never see anything like that happen in the NFL. But then again, the NFL is not in this place. And so when we look at this, I really truly feel like the Providences are going to come back, and really the big thing right now is you've got the two biggest ones, and they're really needing. I think the biggest thing from them is they're really trying to see where the CFL is sitting and where the Players Association is sitting, and are they seriously going to get on the same page? Because if they are seriously going to be on the same page, and listen, I know that the CFL guys don't make a whole lot of money. I mean. And this is one of those things that people didn't understand with the XFL. The guys in the XFL aren't making really that much less than the guys who are making in the CFL. The guys in the CFL, they're going to have to, if they really want to play, they really want a paycheck this year. They're definite, and they want to make their money playing Canadian football. They're going to have to take a pay cut. I'm sorry, but that's just the way that it is. I mean, you can't just run a business and a for-profit business and not really profit anything as the CFL and the teams and all that. You know, the players are going to have to give some with it. Now, you know, only taking 33%, I don't know. You look at that, see what it is. I mean, they're only playing 6 games, and normally they play about, you know, 2/3 more than that, you know, somewhere roughly around 18, 19 games. Again, I'm not a big CFL guy. I'm just learning. So give me some slack here. So I'm trying to take all this in a short amount of time and trying to, with it too, it's crazy. Also, I'm starting to learn a little bit of, you know, how the Canadian government works and how Canadian society and culture is. So I apologize. This is coming from an American standpoint. So hopefully give me some grace, you Canadians out there and CFL fans. So we've got kind of this whole thing that's going on with that, right? So we've got really, it's Ontario, which has 3 teams, and Alberta, which has 2 teams. And that's over half the league because there's only 5 teams. And so if they can come in and say, yes, we're going to co-sign, then the other ones pretty much are going to jump in. Saskatchewan and Winnipeg, Manitoba is again, I'm sorry, I'm not Canadian. I'm learning, and yes, I looked it up beforehand, but I didn't. But that's where Winnipeg is. They've already said Saskatchewan and Winnipeg are already in. They've already co-signed. So if they can get the other one, that's 7 teams. It looks like the other ones will jump in. I think that a deal is going to be made. I think that we're going to have Canadian football, and it all is going to be well. And a lot of this is just positioning and jockeying to see really who can come out looking like a hero at the end of all this. Who can look good at the end of all this is really, you know, who saved the CFL. And everybody at the end of the day can all grab hands and sing Kumbaya and look what we did and we saved the CFL. You know, one of our true Canadian, our true Canadian, things that we have. And that's really what we're looking at here. And so I think that that's what's going to happen. It's going to come out, in the 11th hour, they got it all done. And that's what's going to happen. And it's going to make Ambrosi look really good and I think they're going to go in the right place with that. And I think a lot of it's been political jockeying because they've had to deal with the government and how that all works and handles and things of that nature. So I think that's working, and it's going to be a good thing. They're going to have a six game season with playoffs at the end with the eight team playoffs. So you're looking at the end of it. If it's just single elimination, teams end up playing maybe nine total games. I think that's great. I think that this is good. This whole bubble thing I think is going to work out really, really well for the CFL. It's going to do something for them that they haven't had to do, and it's going to push them into more marketing deals, more TV deals, and really trying to broaden their exposure because they're not going to be able to bring the fans in the stands. And I think that's great. Now, listen, their whole bubble analogy and thing is going to be it's pretty much exactly what the NHL is going to be doing. So if you want to look at that, that's what they're going to be doing. I think it's a hard ask in that with it, but it is what you have to do. And I will say that, things in Canada are a little bit more stringent than they are here in the United States. That's just kind of how it is. And, so them looking at this, what's going on right now, they're a lot more strict than what we are here in the U.S. So as I see that, I really see this bubble thing. And if you notice, everybody's taking from the XFL. what the XFL did, how the XFL did things with their training camp. They brought everybody into one place and, they really worked it well, and they had that hub city thing. They're calling it a bubble now, but it really is that. And the thing that really I think the CFL needs to do is they really need to take the model the XFL did and model themselves after it and just go for it with it. Let the guys be really big, put a big social media stuff out there, put stuff out there, really try to get this. The CFL has an opportunity here to really put themselves and really remake themselves and really gain some ground. Now, whether or not they want to do that, I don't know. It seems to be to me that the league is very traditionalistic to what they are, and for them to go further and to move in the direction that they need to, especially to make money and to be lucrative, because I think that they have a decent product, and I think if they can really kind of sell some of these things, I think that they can really move forward. But they really need to model themselves after what the XFL has done. I would love to see interviews on the sidelines. I doubt you'll see that stuff, in the face kind of things, that type of a thing. But the access, giving people the access, because remember, CFL, it's all about what's happening, the game day experience. So if fans aren't getting the game day experience, they need to get it in their TVs. They need to get it in that TV. They need that, on their phones or whatever, and they need to be able to interact with that and to do that type of thing. So I think that that's huge, and I think that that's a big deal when it, going forward for them. And so, as I look at the things with it, that's really right now is the next step for them. Well, the first step is they need to come out and say, we're having a season. Once they do that, they need to shift their gears, and they really need to put their focus on their TV deals. They need to put their focus on their marketing. They need to put their focus on their social media, and they really need to hammer those things hard. And I actually think that they could probably not only pull in well from Canada, but they probably can pull in well from the United States. So that's kind of my thoughts. That's where we're sitting with the CFL. I'll definitely be putting more information out on the CFL as it goes, and obviously you're going to be getting more XFL content from me. XFL's just ready to blow up. We've got about a week or so, a few days over a week that we have left before we find out who's buying the XFL, what's going to go with the XFL, and we can start really getting and dissecting back into the XFL. All right, guys, that's what I've got for the CFL today. Again, please just bear with me. I'm learning, so give me some grace on this one. All you Canadians and CFL fans, I appreciate you guys watching this video. Thank you for being here with me. And remember to stay safe and keep up the hope. Have a good night, guys. Bye.